Huawei just launched a $5 billion gambit into the stars, a low Earth orbit satellite network to deliver global 6G connectivity, announced on May 24, 2025. This isn't just about faster internet, it's a direct challenge to U.S. space tech dominance, led by SpaceX's Starlink, escalating the U.S. China tech war into a new frontier. But with sanctions looming and technical hurdles ahead, is this a connectivity revolution or a doomed mirage? This is the fault line that could fracture your digital world. Welcome to Tech Fault Line, where we expose the cracks threatening your future. On May 24, 2025, Huawei stunned the world from its Shenzhen headquarters, announcing a $5 billion low Earth orbit satellite network aimed at delivering global 6G connectivity by 2028. The plan? Deploy 10,000 satellites at 500 kilometers altitude, promising speeds up to 1 terabit per second, 10 times faster than 5G. Huawei claims it will connect 3 billion people in underserved regions, from rural Africa to remote Asia, at a fraction of current costs. This comes hot on the heels of China's tech defiance, just days after Xiaomi's X-Ring 01 chip launch, showing Beijing's unrelenting push to lead the global tech race, even under the weight of U.S. sanctions. Huawei's satellite network is the next step in its tech independence strategy. Since U.S. sanctions hit in 2019, Huawei has invested $150 billion in R&D, developing Harmony OS, now powering 1 billion devices, and chips like the Kirin 9000. This satellite network integrates with Harmony OS, offering seamless 6G connectivity across devices, from smartphones to IoT sensors in smart cities. Huawei's CEO Yu Chengdong declared at the launch, "Space is the next frontier. We'll connect the unconnected, no matter the barriers." But this isn't just about access. It's about control. Huawei aims to set global 6G standards, challenging U.S. dominance in space-based tech infrastructure. Let's break this down for everyone. Imagine you're in a remote village with no Wi-Fi or cell signal, like a camping spot in the middle of nowhere. Normally, you'd need a big cell tower nearby to get internet, but building those is hard and expensive. Huawei's idea is to put 10,000 small satellites in space, acting like floating Wi-Fi routers. These satellites will fly close to Earth, about 500 kilometers up, and send down a super fast internet signal called 6G. It's like going from a slow bike to a rocket ship. You could download a whole movie in seconds. Huawei wants to use this to bring internet to 3 billion people who've never had it, especially in far-off places like rural Africa or Asia. Huawei's biggest rival is SpaceX's Starlink, which is already a giant in this space. As of today, May 25th, 2025, Starlink has 7,183 satellites in orbit, providing internet to 70 million people across 70 countries, and it's making $10 billion a year. To use Starlink, you need a dish to catch the signal, which costs about $474 upfront, including shipping. After that, the average user pays around $124.50 a month for the first year, which drops to $85 a month after the dish is paid off. That's a lot for many people, especially in poorer areas, and Starlink mostly serves places like the US and Europe, where internet is already pretty common. Now let's see why Huawei might be better than Starlink for you. First, it's way cheaper. Huawei's internet could cost around $50 a month, compared to Starlink's $85 a month after the first year, or $124.50 when you include the dish cost. That's a big saving, like paying $5 for a pizza instead of $10. Second, Huawei's 6G is 10 times faster than Starlink's speeds. You could download movies or stream videos without waiting, even in a remote village. Third, it's safer. Huawei uses a special lock called quantum encryption to keep your data safe from hackers, which Starlink doesn't have. And finally, Huawei's focusing on connecting 3 billion people in places Starlink hasn't reached much, like rural Africa, giving them internet for the first time. The space tech race has been simmering for years. Starlink's 7,183 satellites give the US a big lead, but China's catching up. Its Tiangong space station was completed in 2024, and it leads in quantum communication satellites, a field critical for secure 6G networks. Huawei's been battered by U.S. sanctions since 2019, losing access to advanced chips, yet it's persisted, rolling out 5G networks in 60 countries. This satellite network is Huawei's boldest move yet, a bid to leapfrog the US in the next frontier, even as Starlink dominates with 70 million users and $10 billion in revenue. But Huawei's ambitions risk reigniting a sanctions firestorm. Huawei's satellite network escalates the U.S. China tech war into low Earth orbit. It threatens Starlink's lead and U.S. control over global internet infrastructure, a market projected to hit $1 trillion by 2030. If Huawei sets 6G standards, it could dictate terms for future tech, from smart devices to self-driving cars, giving China massive influence. But the US is pushing back. The Space Force, in a May 2025 report, flagged Huawei's satellites as a security threat, warning they could spy on US military movements. New U.S. sanctions, rumored for June 2025, might target Huawei's supply chain, aiming to stop this project before it can challenge Starlink's dominance. For you, Huawei's network could change everything, or create new divides. Imagine a farmer in Africa checking weather updates in real time for just $50 a month, or a student in a remote village streaming lessons in perfect quality. That's a lot cheaper than Starlink's $85 a month after the first year. But the US-China tech fight might mean Western users can't use Huawei's system easily, because Huawei's Harmony OS doesn't work well with Google or Apple platforms. You could be stuck on one side of a digital wall, relying on Starlink instead. Economically, markets are nervous. Global tech investments fell 15% in Q4 2024, and new sanctions could disrupt satellite supply chains, hiking costs for everyone. Reactions are a mixed bag. In China, Huawei's announcement sparked a wave of national pride. Weibo posts hailed it as a win for Chinese innovation, racking up 10 million views in just 24 hours. But globally, skepticism runs high. Ex-users are split. Some see it as a game changer for global access, with one user tweeting, "Internet for all. Finally." Others call it a surveillance nightmare, fearing Huawei's ties to Beijing. Western telecoms like AT&T are nervous about losing market share to Huawei's $50 a month service, while developing nations like Kenya are eager to join Huawei's beta tests in 2026. Your internet experience could be transformed or restricted depending on who controls the skies. Huawei faces a steep climb to catch up. Launching 10,000 satellites by 2028 requires 200 launches. China's Long March rockets can handle it, but costs could balloon to $8 billion due to delays and technical issues. U.S. sanctions pose a bigger threat. Huawei relies on TSMC for satellite chips and European firms for optics, both vulnerable to new export controls rumored for June 2025. The U.S. Space Force could also jam Huawei's signals, citing security risks, as they've done with Russian satellites. Starlink's lead is massive. 7,183 satellites already cover 70 countries, while Huawei hasn't launched a single one. Ex-users are questioning the timeline, with some calling it a pipe dream. Huawei's reaching for the stars, but the US might shoot it down. History is littered with space tech dreams that crashed. In the 1990s, Iridium launched a $5 billion satellite phone network with 66 satellites, promising global coverage, but it filed for bankruptcy in 1999, losing $4 billion as costs soared and users stuck with cheaper cell phones. The Soviet Union's 1980s Mir space station faced technical failures, costing $4.2 billion before its deorbit in 2001. The 2000s telecom bubble saw companies like Globalstar lose $3 billion on satellite ventures that couldn't compete with terrestrial networks. Each time, bold space tech bets faltered under cost, tech, or geopolitical pressures. Huawei's satellite network could follow suit or rewrite the playbook. Huawei's fighting back with a bold vision. Its satellites will use quantum encryption for secure 6G, ensuring unhackable communication, something Starlink can't match yet. The network integrates with Harmony OS, creating a seamless ecosystem. Your Huawei phone, watch, and smart car could all stay connected via satellite, even in the remotest areas, for just $50 a month. Huawei's partnering with China's space agency, planning 50 launches by 2027, aiming to outpace Starlink's $85 monthly fee and 5G-like speeds. If Huawei pulls this off, it could connect the world's unconnected, set global 6G standards, and cement China's leadership in space tech. Huawei's satellite network could fracture the connectivity future. If it succeeds, 3 billion people gain affordable 6G, reshaping education, agriculture, and healthcare. Think farmers in Africa getting real-time weather data, or doctors in Asia conducting remote surgeries, all for half the cost of Starlink. But a U.S. China tech split might isolate Western users. Starlink and Huawei networks won't interoperate, splitting apps and services across ecosystems. The 1 trillion 6G market by 2030 hangs in the balance. If Huawei dominates, China could control global internet infrastructure, as it already does with 5G in 60 countries. Your internet speed, cost, and access could depend on which tech superpower wins this orbital war. Huawei's $5 billion satellite network is a high-stakes gambit in the U.S. China tech war, pushing the battlefield into low Earth orbit. It promises faster, cheaper, and safer internet for billions, but history warns of failure, and the U.S. is poised to strike back. With Starlink's 7,183 satellites leading the race, this fault line could fracture the global tech landscape for good. Your internet, your apps, your digital life, they're all on the line. If this shook you, smash that like button, subscribe, and tell us in the comments, will Huawei's satellites connect the world or crash and burn? We're back tomorrow with the next tech crisis on Tech Fault Line.